to Bazaar, don't you sometimes feel you'd like to change a few things around you? Just little things like your home, your entire wardrobe, your appearance? Well, look no further than 2 new features we begin on Bazaar this week and continue throughout the series. Why not join our makeup masterclass with Barbara Daly? Help us educate Eamonn. Insulate yourself from winter blues. And change one outfit 3 times. Now, I'm sure we all know men, or women, come to think of it, who are absolutely useless at anything practical. They can't cook, they can't sew, and they can't do DIY. Well, most people keep quiet about it, but Eamonn Holmes, presenter of Open Air, isn't one of them. Eamonn, are you really that useless?
Yes. Yes, there's no other answer for it. I don't know if it's just useless or just can't be bothered. It's a sort of cross between both of those. You see, I had a very overprotective mother, and she had 5 boys, and she sort of did everything for us, you know, including tying her shoelaces. I mean, I couldn't tie my own shoelaces till I was about 15 or 16. And I'm still not very good. That's why I wear slip-ons even today.
Oh, for goodness sake. Well, fret not.
But I'm willing to be saved. I'm willing to see the light, and that's why I've agreed to come on
Well, your
Bazaar.
worries are over, because Bazaar is going to educate you. And that includes showing you how to tie your laces. But first of all, we're going to show you how to feed yourself. So there's your pinny.
That's the least of my worries.
Get yourself over to the kitchen. Sophie Grigson's waiting for you.
How do I put this on?
Oh, for goodness sake, I'll do it. One thing that many pensioners find a real boon is the magic microwave. It's quick, it's easy, and there's practically no washing up. Just the thing, in fact, for our reluctant cook, Eamonn Holmes. If you remember, Bazaar has taken Eamonn in hand, and we're teaching him how to cope with life now that he's flown from his mother's nest. Well, Jill McLennan, the cookery editor of Woman magazine, has let him loose on her microwave. And the best of British luck, Jill.
And that is the signal to tell me that the meal is ready. Pop up in front of the oven. There it comes. Smells lovely. Just like a real oven, that, isn't it? So, when we peel back the cling film, it reveals
a meal on a plate.
1 haddock, some peas.
Some peas. And add a slice of bread and butter. It's quick. It's good for you. It hardly takes any time.
Yeah. I actually wouldn't have thought of making something like that. Do I have to fillet that fish or whatever? Can I just buy that?
No, you can buy it like that from the fishmonger. You can buy it frozen in a little bag. It'll have instructions on it for defrosting it.
Plop it on a plate, 3 minutes, and that's it ready.
Easy.
Great, absolutely super.
But the other thing I've got for you, I heard on the programme a couple of weeks ago how much you like Chinese food, so I thought you could try out a Chinese recipe yourself.
This doesn't look like any Chinese food I've ever had, Jill.
Well, this is some frozen stir-fry vegetables. They come that mix in a pack, and you just put them frozen straight from the freezer onto the plate.
Right,
You've got chicken, and that's come, I think if you buy it boned and skinned, you're not going to have to do anything to it at all. And then the other thing you've got to do is make the sauce.
What is that?
That is marmalade.
Marmalade?
Yes, I thought you would have that in your cupboard, Eamonn.
I do have it in my cupboard, but it's for my toast in the morning. It's not
But I think if you mix it with about a tablespoon of tomato ketchup and a capful of vinegar, you'll be surprised that it makes a sweet and sour sauce.
I will be surprised. I will be surprised. Is this the way the Chinese do it? Is this the way...
They probably take a little bit longer and put a few more ingredients in, but this is a good, speedy one.
And would they use marmalade?
Probably not. But they would use sugar, and they'd probably use orange somewhere in it.
Just stir that up.
Stir
basically
that up.
To taste, right?
A capful of vinegar. And then you just have to cover that. So that keeps all the steam in, and it stops splattering the oven. You'll have to take the spoon out, though.
Yeah, take the spoon away.
Okay. And that just goes in for 3 minutes. And
everything can be cooked at once?
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. That's on okay, yeah?
That's fine.
Stops it going out. Right, we open this. Place it in. And set it for what, 3 minutes, you say?
3 minutes.
And the great beauty of these microwaves, the first time I've used one actually, but very, very simple.
Press high, that's
full
full
power. Press high
power.
is the intensity for the power. Minutes 1, 2, 3, there we are, and we just play start. So there it goes. That's excellent.
The more food that you put into it, the longer the dish will take to cook. So if you were to add anything else, if you were to add, say, frozen rice to that dish, it would take a wee bit longer.
Now, you're cookery editor of Woman magazine. It always strikes me as that cooking by microwave is really cheating, and the food somehow doesn't taste the same coming out of it.
Well, I think the thing about microwaving, it is a new way of cooking, and the more you play around with it, the more you discover what it can do. I don't think you'd be disappointed with that meal, but there are some things that it doesn't do as well as others. Chicken and fish work terribly well. The important thing to remember is always to undercook things rather than overcook them. You can always put it back in for a minute or two, but if you've overcooked it, you've kind of had it.
Well, Jill, I must admit I'm impressed by what I've seen so far. If and when I decide to go out and buy a microwave, what is it I should be looking for?
Look for the highest wattage you can afford. The wattage is the measure of power, and the higher the wattage, the quicker the food cooks. So if you go for a minimum of a 650 watts, that is ideal. Most recipe books are written for 650 watts, although you can get them from 400 up to 700.
And presumably the higher the wattage, the more expensive the machine.
That's right.
Right, okay, that taken then, does this mean that I can dispense with the cooker altogether if I get a microwave?
No, I would hang on to your cooker for the moment. There's some things that the cooker still does better than the microwave. They're a good complement to each other. It's handy having both around.
Doesn't time fly when you're enjoying yourself? There it is, ready, all ready. Simmering and hissing away in here. Certainly enough aroma coming off it. Let's peel this back. Ooh, it's really warm, isn't it?
Now, as you can see, the chicken hasn't browned in the microwave, so that's why the sauce is such a good idea. If you stir that round, pour it over.
Ooh, it's really sizzling away there.
Well, I take that off because it's probably quite hot.
Yeah, just pour this over the...
Pour this over the chicken.
The chicken, not the vegetables.
Well, either, really.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see how this marmalade turns out, you know, because not in a million years would I think of using marmalade for something like that. And it's great because they're all ingredients that one has just sitting in the cupboard, isn't it? You don't mind if I eat this first?
It'll be hot, remember?
Right, okay, because we've just taken it out immediately. This is the part of this programme that I like best. You know, I look forward to this every week. It's my highlight. The only time I get a decent meal. Here we go. But that's really nice.
And there's more. Here comes the pudding.
Here's the dessert.
I'm talking about the apple, of course, not myself. Now look, this is a microwave tip from Simon Harding from Sheffield. What to do with your old windfalls, your cooking apples.
Bad apples.
It's not a bad apple, it's just been cored. You can get an instrument to do that, so don't worry about that. And it's been scored down there like that. We're going to pop it in the microwave. In there like that. Now, I've got to press high first, haven't I?
Yep.
And then 1 minute, 10, 20, 30 seconds, and press start. And while that's cooking in there, I'll give you the address to write to for all the recipes you've seen today and all the information on the rest of the programme. A large stamped addressed envelope, please, to Bazaar 4, BBC Television, London W12 8QT, and you'll find us on page 187 of CFAX. And don't forget, if you'd like the Property Doctor booklet, a large envelope marked Property Doctor with a 20p stamp on it to the same address. Ta-da! My gloves on. Open the door. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Poetry. Poetry. Now, down here is some raspberry ice cream or strawberry. Can you give me a dollop in the middle there, please?
I'd love to.
There we are. Look at a girt big dollop. Lovely. Now, doesn't that look like a water lily? Quick and easy dessert for you. Eamonn Holmes has just moved home. The Holmes home needs decorating and Eamonn needs help. So Liz Bones from Options magazine and Roberta Gordon-Smith have come along to give him a few ideas.
Must be a difficult task this week. The two of them ganging up, putting me on the straight and narrow. Liz, my house is 6 months old. I've had the walls painted. They've dried out now and whatever. I'd like to progress in some rooms and move on. And I would have thought that the natural progression was to wallpaper them. But you're not convinced that's what I should do?
No, not necessarily at all. You can get some wonderful effects using paint. It's very inexpensive, but you can get very expensive looks with it.
Yes, but will it look as classy as wallpaper would?
Definitely. I have a picture here to show you, which is a bedroom we did. And here we're using paint in stripes with a pattern on, which does in fact look like wallpaper, but it's got a freer feel.
It's nicer.
Here's another bedroom, and we've done a tonal effect on the wall to give it sort of an older, more established
very
feel.
Very continental look there.
Here, this is another room where we've used dados and moulding, beading, which is very inexpensive again, and can make so much difference to a room. It's worth looking into. And all of them are fun to try.
Yeah, fun and inexpensive is another point. I'm not too convinced about that. Roberta is going to try and show me how to do some of these things. Roberta, now what's this? This first example we've got here.
This is the striped wallpaper effect done in paint. Initially, you mask up, say for example, the pale colour, and you paint that all over the room, and then you mask the lines again and paint in the green.
Right.
And then you just,
there, that's cool.
with the pale colour over the dark, do a wiggle. And it doesn't matter if it's irregular. And then just with the artist's brush itself, you print into the curves.
It's okay for you to say this. No, that looks quite convincing, but I mean, you do this for a living. If I was to do that, people would laugh. It would probably look very amateurish.
Well, the whole idea of the irregularity adds to the character of it.
So I go away and practice my wiggles. Now, the next technique, I think, strikes me as a lot more simple, and you can probably get away with more. The sponging technique.
Yes, here we have 3 sponge colours in emulsion, and just a wipe and a dab here and there. Not too much initially. Just to soften all the colours out.
All right.
And then the overall effect on the wall is achieved just like that.
Yes, a sort of surprise. You sort of wait and see what it'll turn out like. Let me have a go there. Let me see what that's like.
A little wipe here and there.
Yes, a little squiggle here and a little
And the
squiggle
ideal
there.
thing is that it will cover in one coat
Right.
over an old dirty wall or something, as
Yeah.
long as it's a fairly pastel shade.
Quite like that. Looks quite simple.
Now, Eamonn, have you got any old floors that haven't got carpet on?
Any old floors? Yes, I've actually got a couple of rooms that haven't been carpeted.
Oh, great. Well, I'll just get ahead and work out an idea of
more
what you can
ideas.
do with them. Yes.
We've done the walls, and now we'll get on to the floors. Goodness me. Going through a lot today. Liz, what have you got to show me now? Yes, you were talking about all sorts of things like beading and trim and whatever in various rooms. And
Now this is a piece of moulding.
yes.
And what we're doing here is we're using it in a square to create a panel. And if you remember the first room, the second room we showed you, we used it to create height to the room. And if you just apply it like this, and you'd usually put glue onto the back of it and a few tacks, and paint it separately so you don't get any rough edges
Right.
to it.
Oh, so that's a very effective effect, and yet very simple to do.
And here we have a dado. This is the dado.
No, wait a minute, you've lost me here. A dado, a D-day. What is this?
Well, this would normally be at a much lower height, and it's called the chair rail.
Oh, so it will be a feature of many older houses, presumably.
Many period houses will have one of these, and you can easily buy them from wood stockists, DIY stores, as with the beading. And if you really put them back into the rooms, paint them a different colour with the skirting and the picture rails, you can get very, good, make a stunning
Yeah, another
result.
good effect. Right, there's this wood panelling effect. Hand me that little dish over there, would you? And I'll have a go at this. Now, there's so much for the theory. Let's see what the practice is like.
Well, here Roberta has done a paint technique to resemble wood planking. And it's sort of meant to look quite rough, and it would add warmth to the room.
If you want it to look quite rough, you've got the right man doing this, I have to say. Look at that line. Certainly not straight, but apparently I will get away with this.
You'll get away with it, definitely. I think it looks very good. It's brilliant.
Yes, isn't it? Yes, it takes a lot of expertise to do that. Now, my wood knots, however, let me just see what they will be like.
That's good. It's easy,
I'm not
isn't it?
convinced. Well, it's easy, it's easy. Right, so much for the walls. Now, let's see about the
Come and have a
floors,
look at the
as
floor,
Roberta
Roberta.
was trying to point out here.
Hello.
Very
So
nice,
here we
I
have
like
it.
this. the chessboard effect.
Yes. What I've done is I've drawn pencil lines and then masked out the different squares diagonally over the floorboards so that you get a nice diamond pattern that breaks up the line of the floorboards.
Now, any type of floorboards, just ordinary, plain, standard floorboards.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
Nothing special at all. And just 2 stained varnishes, and then you paint over it again with a varnish. And you just take the tape off after you've masked the edge. It doesn't matter if there's a little irregularity, because once you get carpet and furniture on the floor, it doesn't show.
No.
Right, right. Can I have a go at this? Yeah. So, presumably, I just apply this and come away from the corners all the
that's
time.
it.
As you
Just
say,
pull the
it
paint
doesn't
away.
matter so much if it overlaps.
No.
I didn't know you could actually get varnish in various colours like this. You've got a grey one here.
Yes, they sell them in all different ranges of
Little
colours.
shop, yeah, it's right, it's ready made up.
I suppose some people tint their own, do they?
Yes, for old floors, you can always put in a slightly opaque paint colour so that it just hides any blemishes, and then just varnish over all for the same effect.
This is a very nice effect. I mean, I suppose this would look very well in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Or any room, I mean, even sitting rooms or whatever. I mean, I think it's nicer than carpets, really.
Yeah. I must say, at the end of the day, I do like this. I would have a go at this. I'm not so sure I would be have enough confidence to try the wall, but the floor,
you should be brave.
the floor, yes, I could.
The main thing is that it's plenty of fun, and it doesn't matter if it makes a mess, because you can always paint over it and start again.
Exactly, just enjoy it, enjoy having a go.
Now, Eamonn Holmes has a wonderful mother, but she did do rather a bit too much for him. So over the past few weeks, we've been... Well, Eamonn, how do you feel you've benefited? What have you learned?
Well, I think the main thing I've derived from my time on Bazaar is that you get much more satisfaction out of doing things yourself, and of course you save a lot of money if you do them right. But I think, as Clint Eastwood would say, a man's got to know his limitations. I've not turned into a DIY maniac, but I have gone out and bought a power drill. I've got a microwave. I try to cook a lot now. And I've put up lots of pictures around the house and that sort of thing, and it's been really good so far.
Well done.
It's whet my appetite, and even I've progressed to such an extent at the start of the series. Remember, I was wearing slip-on shoes. I'm even getting a look at this. I've got laced-up shoes now, hey?
Well,
impressed?
If that's the only thing you've learnt, it's been worth it, hasn't
Yes.
it, really? Now, we've had a marvellous poem in, actually, from Sheila Hazelwood of Bromsgrove. You'll love this. You've heard of educating Archie and educating Rita. Now there's educating Eamonn, and the pupil couldn't be sweeter.
Oh, that's nice.
I refer, of course, to Bazaar, where he gathers all his knowledge from a finer bunch of experts than you'd find in any college. Whether peeling a King Edward with his pinny and his bowl, or learning how a power drill can make a better hole, or how people turn their empty shells into cosy little homes, a mine of information is packed in Eamonn Holmes. But wouldn't it be really great, and wouldn't it be a treat, if Eamonn popped through my letterbox instead of a Bazaar fact sheet?
Don't you believe it, Sheila? A Bazaar fact sheet would be of much more use than I would be around your house.
And cheaper. Well, Eamonn, that is wonderful, Sheila, by the way. Thanks for sending that poem in to us. Well, we've got one final lesson for you.
Yes, what would that be?
Ian Morris, the property doctor, is going to show you how to fit security locks to your home.
Looking forward to it. That will round off my education quite nicely. I won't let you down today, Sheila. So what are we going to do? Spy surveillance systems all over the back garden then? Or
Oh, no, nothing so elaborate as
simple
that. No, no.
day-to-day
If you've
stuff.
got priceless antiques and oil paintings worth pinching, then that's fine. Spend
No,
lots of
you
money.
can rule me out of that.
Right.
No danger of that.
Then get some basic locks fitted. Look, the thing is, if you're relying on what's called a cylinder night latch, one of these things here for security in your home, then forget it. Because burglars will laugh at those things, they'll burst through. These, look, they're just fixed with screws onto the woodwork. They're not actually fixed into the wood at all. What you need to put on your door is what's called a mortise lock, and this thing is mortised into the woodwork here, see, like this. The one we've got on here is a 5-lever mortise lock, called 5 levers because the key operates 5 individual levers inside the thing, right? If we were to use one of these things, which is a latch lock, this is a 3-lever one, the keys for this provide a little less security, but still much better than relying on the cylinder night latch on here.
Right, and what am I going to pay for those?
This thing's going to cost you perhaps about £15 or about £8. That sort of money for the lock.
So, right, you've told me what type of lock to get, so what are you telling me to do now? Fit it myself or get an expert? Because that looks pretty complicated to me, to hack a hole in your door and then try and place that inside
Well,
it.
it depends how confident you feel. If you've got a bit of woodworking experience, then it'll take you a long time, much longer than a professional, to fit one of these things. But it can be done. If you're at all worried about that, and if you're at all worried about your woodworking skills, then find a retired carpenter, friend of a friend, who can do this kind of job and achieve a nice finish like that. It'll cost you a few pounds, to, obviously, and a few drinks to pay them or whatever.
Yes, and I think I'll be looking for a few retired carpenters out there to do me a turn or two. But the big invite to most burglars is the unprotected window.
Yes, the opportunist is going to wander by, he's going to look in, he's going to see if you've got a portable radio. If the window's open, he'll be straight in, you know, through the window, and it'll be gone.
This is your standard casement window, to be found in most modern houses.
That's right, yes. A very common kind of window, this one. And fairly easy to protect too, because if the opportunist finds this thing is going to be closed, he's going to leave it alone and not bother to fiddle with it. This little lock here is going to cost you something like about £4.50. It's very simple to fit. Have a go yourself, look. There are two pieces here. One piece goes onto the frame.
Just put the screw in.
Yes, screw it up tight there. The other piece goes onto the opening casement.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of this thing is that the two bits simply lock together very easily. At the back of this kit, there's a little grey plastic piece here, you see that there, which takes account of the chamfer on the side of the frame.
That
makes sure that the two actually fit together. And, I mean, to lock these things, you just simply push this thing and the two lock together. It's as easy as that.
So what if your window isn't that shape, but if it's the more traditional sash window as seen in older houses?
The old sash windows like these are sometimes difficult to get good security on. You've really got to keep the two sashes from being pushed apart and open up. By mortising in this thing here, which has got a mortise bolt and key operated, you'll see that that fits into the top sash there. A metal plate on the bottom sash prevents the bottom sash being pushed up too far.
So that's back to the same idea as we saw on the door to begin with. A hole hollowed out in the frame. That's right.
Two fixing screws there. Two simple fixing screws on this metal plate here. And you'll see that stops the window being opened too far for good security. Yet you can let ventilation in here so you can go out and do your shopping in peace.
Best of both worlds.
That's right.
At the end of the day, Ian, though, you're still going to spend a good few bob kitting out an average house with various locks and bolts on the doors and windows and whatever. Besides peace of mind, is there any other compensation to be had?
Speak to your house insurance people, because you'll find they give a discount off your annual insurance premium if you've got all the right door and window locks fitted. It's well worth asking about that.
So it'll save money and a lot of anguish as well.
Each year you'll get a discount off the premium you'd otherwise pay. Yeah.
Great.
Well, I think you've sort of finished your education piece now.
I've sort of graduated now, haven't I? Yes.
Have my personal copy of the Property Doctor book for a bit of bedtime reading.
Yes, I'll tuck this under my pillow. You're a real pal, Ian. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.